Street Fighter ZERO 3, better known as Street Fighter Alpha 3 in the West, was released for the CPS2 hardware for arcades in 1998. Although it was released after the Street Fighter 3 series had already been started, between Second Impact and Third Strike, the gameplay system follows from the previous Alpha games, but with a complete overhaul, including the addition of 3 selectable fighting styles, called Zism, Aism in the West, Vism and Xism. The game also features more stages than previous Zero Alpha games, and many more characters. All 18 of the original characters that appeared in Street Fighter ZERO 2 are present, plus Cammy, who was previously featured in the console exclusive Street Fighter ZERO 2 Dash, E Honda, Blanca, Browlog, and M Bison, Vega, the main guy at the end. Plus, there are some new characters, including Rainbow Mika, a Japanese female wrestler who idolizes Zangief, Karen, Sakura's rival, who was first introduced in the Street Fighter manga Sakura Gambaru, Cody from Final Fight, who has since become an escaped convict, and Julie and Junie, 2 of the Shadowloo dolls, who serve as Bison's assassins and guards. Street Fighter ZERO 3 may look dated compared to the Street Fighter 3 series of the same time, but that doesn't mean it's a bad game. In fact, it's one of the best one-on-one fighters of its time. Okay, so let's start off the port with the weakest of the bunch, but still pretty cool, the Gameboy Advance version. Developed by Clawfish Interactive and based upon the Naomi hardware update called Street Fighter ZERO 3 Upper. As to be expected, this port lacks several stages and music tracks from the arcade version, although all of the characters are present. In addition, Eagle, Maki and Yun, all of whom were characters from Capcom vs SNK 2, were also added to the game. Sadly, only a small amount of character voices were included in this version, due to storage limitations, which the developers worked around by having characters share voice samples, modified with real-time pitch shifting, such as using a higher pitched version of Ken's voice for Sakura's attack calls. But how does it play, you're wondering? Well, surprisingly well. There's no middle attack anymore, so some combos can't be pulled off, and there's also a simple special moves option. But besides those changes, this Game Boy Advance port really isn't that bad. Also remember, at the time, this was the only way to play Street Fighter ZERO 3 on the move.
03.
Coming out 4 years after the Game Boy Advance version, we get this PSP port, based upon the upper version of Street Fighter ZERO 3, but now it's called Upper Upper, due to a few extra additions. This port, as you can see, looks fantastic and can be played in either the original aspect ratio with borders, as you're seeing here, or stretched to fill the PSP's widescreen. Featuring all the additional characters from the Game Boy Advance version, as well as Ingrid from Capcom Fighting Evolution. This version is a near faithful port of the arcade version with minimal loading times and all frames of animation intact. The dramatic battle mode in this version is the only one where both the player and partner characters can be selected individually, allowing for any character pairing. It also includes the reverse dramatic battle mode from the Saturn port, which we'll see later, and an exclusive tag mode called Variable Battle, which is similar to dramatic battle, but players can tag in and out their partner, and a mode called 100 Kumite. If it wasn't for the PSP's D-pad, I'd rank this as one of the best ports you can buy.
Street Fighter 03.
The first home port of Street Fighter 03 surprisingly appeared on the PlayStation in 1998. This version replaces the hit sprite boxes with hit polygon boxes, in order to focus more memory on character animations. Julie, Junie and Balrog were added to the immediate regular roster, and they were given new character portraits and their own storylines. DJ, Fei Long and T-Hawk, the remaining of the new challengers from Super Street Fighter 2, were also included to the roster. Evil Ryu, Guile and Shin Akuma were also added as secret unlockable characters in the World Tour mode, a mode that allows the player to strengthen and customize their chosen character's fighting style while traveling around the world. An additional feature to the Japanese version also made use of the Pocket Station peripheral, which allowed the player to build up their character's strength. In this version, Shin Akuma serves as the final boss for Evil Ryu, as well as a secret boss in Final Battle. Due to RAM limitations, the only unique pairing available for a complete campaign in the dramatic battle mode are Ryu and Ken, and Julie and Junie. Other character combinations can only be used for one-match battles. The PlayStation port is well done, but sadly there's quite a bit of animation missing, and the loading between rounds really breaks the flow of the game.
Street Fighter 03.
The 1999 Dreamcast version, titled Street Fighter 03 Saikyo Ryu Dojo, uses all the added features from the PlayStation version of the game, but features a different World Tour mode. An original online mode was added, allowing players to display their high scores, In addition, a Psycho Dojo mode was added, which pits a very weak character of the player's choice against two very strong opponents. Dreamcast also saw a re-release version of Zero 3 in Japan in 2000, as Street Fighter Zero 3 Psycho Ryu Dojo for matching service. This port was only available via mail order from the Dreamcast Direct store. The matching service version differs from the original with the addition of an online versus mode.
Street Fighter Zero 3.
The Sega Saturn version of Street Fighter Zero 3 was released in 1999, shortly after the initial Dreamcast version in Japan only. This port makes use of Sega's 4MB RAM cartridge, and uses all the features from the PlayStation version except for the polygon usage and the Pocket Station mode, obviously. This port includes more frames of animation and more background sprites than the PlayStation version, plus it has almost instant stage loading, making it near arcade perfect. Evil Ryu, Guile are immediately selectable, while the player can also unlock Shin Akuma, who shares a slot with his regular counterpart. While the World Tour mode and survival modes are virtually unchanged from the PlayStation version, Dramatic Battle mode received improvements, with the addition of Reverse Dramatic Battle mode, and allowing 3 different characters to be used. This is also the only port to feature Dramatic Battle against the entire roster of characters, as all the other versions limit this mode to boss characters only. It's also the only version of Street Fighter Zero 3 to give players the option of true RGB image mode, just like the arcade machine. Of course, that's what you're seeing here. And let's take a look at all those versions of Street Fighter Zero 3 or Street Fighter Alpha 3, whatever you want to call it, running side by side.